Hello, everyone, and welcome to your favorite podcast. I don't know. I know that we switched it up on you guys.
Again.
So, again, so sorry.
My apologies.
1,000 apologies.
The summer's hard. Life is hard right now.
It is.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
We're doing every other week now. So for summer, maybe into the future, we don't know. We haven't really discussed that yet. But yeah. Hey, gang, we're back. Another episode of I Don't Know with your two favorite hosts, myself, Jackie.
Sana.
And today we have a very special guest.
I know we say that every time.
I know we say that every single time, but no, this is legitimately very special.
This wouldn't be a thing.
Sana and I would not know each other if it was not for
the one and only.
The one and only. Welcome, Jennifer Lozano.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, ladies. Yeah, she is
the one who brought Saki together.
Yeah, the one who.
Yeah. Saki. We haven't heard that name in a while.
We haven't heard that.
That was our running name.
That was our running name. So yes, we welcome Jen. We'll get into kind of how we know her, and why she's so important to this and to the Saki journey. Yes. But we'll just get right into it because we have a lot to talk about, a lot to go over. So weekend recap. Sana, what did you get up to this weekend?
A whole bunch of nothing crazy. I hung out with my sisters. I taught. I went to a gender reveal. Very, very, very low key.
Boom.
My end, very low key.
I feel like
taking it easy.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like this is probably one of them. Like, I don't feel like you've had a low key weekend in a while.
We've been sober for over a week.
Sober. It's true. Yeah. Progress. This is good. Jen, what about you? What'd you get up to? Anything fun, exciting?
Packing my life.
No.
And then beach day with the fam.
Oh, that's nice.
The weather's been beautiful.
It's been so great.
The weather has been really nice. I feel like it's been warm, but like not so warm where you're like, get me out of here. I have no desire to be outside.
Yeah.
No, that's nice. Yes, packing.
Barbecue. Yeah.
That's a family wholesome situation.
Totally.
Nice.
It's like July 4th every weekend right now.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
You're close to the beach.
That's true. You're very close to the beach. Same. Just a very low-key weekend. Really nothing crazy. Saw family on Sunday. Went to lunch. And, nothing wild. I don't know.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Adulting.
Low-key adulting weekends, staying sober. Well, sort of, but did you say sober this weekend?
Absolutely not.
Neither did Jackie, so I'm the only one.
Today is one day sober, and I just feel so much better.
That's all it takes sometimes. It's a nice little 24-hour refresher.
This is true. So, why is Jen so important to this podcast, and why is she such a special guest? So we've talked about this before. If you've listened, we've mentioned Jen before. But Jen was the hiring manager for both myself and Sana at Nordstrom. Yeah, for back in the wedding suite days.
Back in the way. Jackie was hired like 2 weeks before me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. About. And
You were hired on my birthday.
I know. I was Jen's birthday gift. I was hired on June 4th.
That's
I'll
right.
never forget that day. See? I'll never forget.
Exactly.
But,
but that's the thing. This literally would not happen if it wasn't for Jen.
Yeah.
All of us that know each other and our little wedding sweethearts.
Yes, we still keep in touch.
We do still keep in touch. But yeah, it was Jen. Jen was the genesis of this all.
She was.
I love it. Goosebumps every time.
10 years.
Literally.
10 years ago.
And funny enough, Jackie and I were single then. And we still
we're
are
still
now.
single now. So,
And nobody else is.
And no one else is. Everyone else has progressed.
Yeah.
Son and I are still over here being idiots together.
Yeah. So
Takes time, ladies.
Takes time.
It was love at first sight.
It really was, though.
So we did find a soulmate.
We did find a soulmate.
Yeah, in each other.
Yeah, in each other. Yeah. We found Saki. It was a summer love that never stopped.
Yeah.
So, but
10 years deep.
10 years deep.
Can't believe a decade.
I
know. Isn't that wild? Yeah, 21 to 31 for her.
Jen hired me a month before my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
I didn't even realize how old she was.
I was the youngest one there.
You were.
Until Chelsea came.
Well, yeah. All of us had the same reaction. But no, so yeah, but that's how we know everyone. Our friend Kimmy, friend of the pod, Kimmy, Anna, Nina. I mean, it's everyone. Like Carly. We've all mentioned these people before, but yeah, Jen was the one that brought us all
Ladies
together.
close to my heart.
Oh,
I know. It's one of those friendships that like there's always going to be a special place.
oh, for sure. It doesn't matter how much time goes by.
Sometimes a lot of time goes by.
Sometimes a lot of time goes by.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's like, married, has kids. Life just gets in the way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's one of those friendships that like you pick up right where you left off.
Well, you
which
always
is-
wanted to hang out. And I was like, no, I'm your manager.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
when we were
right.
younger, because again, we all would do things and go out.
Yeah.
And Jen would refuse to cross that line. I'm like, it's fine.
We're like, it's fine, Jen.
The pictures and stories were
Jen
great
wa-
later. Like,
Yeah.
Jen was
That
an
was it.
amazing manager because we would somehow
yes.
finesse a way that we can all be gone.
Yeah.
I don't even
Oh
know
my
how.
gosh.
But
I
she
think I
would
worked
just
13 hours that day. for
Yeah,
Chelsea's
she would
wedding.
just be like, okay.
Yeah, she let us figure out how all of us to be off or like be off at the same time.
literally, we had like two weddings.
Yeah.
From Nordstrom.
Yeah.
We had a bachelorette party.
that bachelor.
We had two bachelorette parties actually.
Oh, did two?
Nina's
Yes.
too.
Yeah, Nina's. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we
Nina's.
had the one that we threw.
Yeah, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jen was a rock star. She made it.
Jen-
She was like, all right, guys.
I know. She was amazing.
Gotta
Yeah.
make it happen.
Amazing.
I think it bit me in the butt later.
No, we loved you. We treated you well.
No, but she was amazing. She always the biggest thing whenever we'd go out, I always remember she would just say, we'd be like, come out with us, and she would always just say like, no, I'm not going to, but if you guys need a ride or anything,
Yeah.
you call me. Like, I do not want you drinking and driving.
No.
I don't want anyone doing anything dumb, so
Yep.
give me a call if you need a ride.
Figure it
She
out.
was by far, still to this day, and I'm not just saying that because you're my friend, best manager.
Yes, best manager I've ever had. I've always said that she's like I grew up under her professionally.
Yeah.
The way that I manage is just like the way Jen manages.
Yeah, fair and consistent.
Fair and fair and consistent. Fair and consistent.
Yeah.
But yes, I that's how I learned was from Jen.
Yeah.
I had no previous, I don't know, professional anything really. And it was all because of Jen. That is the only reason.
Well, you took my place when I left.
Yeah, I did.
So, I mean,
I know. See, right?
only the best.
But only the best.
Yeah, look at that.
Jigsaw puzzle. But no, we thought we'd have Jen on for two reasons. One, because she is moving to Tennessee.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So exciting. Bittersweet.
Bittersweet. I
Bittersweet.
bittersweet's the best way to put
Well,
it.
I love that both of you love to travel, so I know.
And I
that you're gonna
have
come
never
out
been
here.
in Tennessee.
Oh my gosh, Sana.
I
Nashville.
know. Jack keeps
Nashville.
on me. The
Nashville's
Cowboys
a
in
thing.
Nashville.
The Cowboys in
Country
Nashville.
boys.
They opened that door for the ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
They tip your hat. They're like, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yep.
it's great. We would have a fantastic time in
Well, we will
Nashville.
be.
We will. We
Yeah.
will be having a fantastic time and going and crashing at Jen's. But she's moving. Very excited because this is
New chapter.
New chapter.
yeah.
Something totally different. But so sad for us because she's not going to be here. And we've been so used to having her around. So we had to get her on before she goes.
Yeah. We had to get the creator of this.
Had to
There was
get-
many
yes.
reasons. Yeah. And she has a lot of perspective in life.
She does,
There's
yes.
There's a lot of reasons.
Yes, and that's exactly why we had her on today. Is Jen has led a very non-traditional, unconventional life, and it's really fascinating. Every time when we would work, Jen would randomly just like say something. She'd be like, "Oh yeah," like.
It would be so
It was
unexpected.
so unexpected and
Yeah.
so random. She would be like, "Oh yeah, like I worked at Yard House once or something. Like I quit after a day." and then,
then she'd just walk away.
And she'd just walk away.
No,
We're like,
sometimes-
free meal.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it would be
Chicken
like
salad.
no. Sometimes it would be like outrageous.
yes,
And I'd be like, Jen, you.
yeah,
know.
because she was so professional.
She was so. It would be stuff that she'd be like when I did this when I was 18. I was like you.
Yeah, we're like Jen.
And then she would do that little laugh and walk away, and we'd be like, "What just happened?" It'd be like little tidbits.
Yeah, little tidbits. She'd
Yeah.
randomly just like drop. She's like the most interesting woman in the world.
Literally.
just the random situation she's been in.
It's
so,
also the delivery of it.
yes,
The delivery of how she would do it would be like,
yeah, she'd just like
Yeah.
randomly just drop it, and it's like,
"I'll leave you with that."
yeah, just walk away.
Don't
Like,
ask questions.
Yeah, don't ask questions. She wouldn't even be around for questions.
Yeah.
It'd be like, okay.
I probably wouldn't even answer them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. yeah.
She was like, "I'm out."
Yeah. She's like, and that's all you get. So no, that's the perfect way to put it. She has so much wisdom in life.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that we both have learned a lot from her. So that's what we kind of wanted to talk about and get into today was kind of just that unconventional
I like it.
life. So let's go ahead and start with, I feel like your entire life has always
Oh my
been
goodness.
unconventional.
100%.
100%.
Like your adolescence, growing up, like what was that like and how was it like very just again non-traditional?
I mean, non-traditional is ironically like my mom took my sister and me and we packed up and moved from like the home city we grew up in Norwalk, and we moved to Laguna Hills. And I was 10. And I was like, what is this? It's so clean.
Yeah. It's
so
different
nice.
than Norwalk.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I think like from there came bravery and like courage. And I think, you know, I've ironically been called brave like twice in a week recently. And I was like, okay, this is good. I think this is good, you know?
That's a good word for you.
That is a good word for you.
And so just kind of going through the motions of like single mom life and whatnot, and, you know, my younger sister. And then at 18 saying, peace out, you know.
18, you're
And
like
just not wanting to live in the household that I grew up in.
yeah.
And really just saying like, oh my gosh, I need to make a car payment. Like, I need to make a
Yeah,
like a
reality hit
rent.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think like always having 2 jobs, like I always hustled. You know, college was on the back burner. I was like, I need to put a roof over my head, and just having that like mentality. I think it wasn't until I was about 20, I got really serious about college, but literally took me like 10 years to finish my
Which is okay under the circumstance.
I mean, under
Yeah.
the circumstance, right? And really just like finding literally the love of my life when I was 21, and I, you know, was packing and I found this diary. I think it had like 6 pages in it, and it was like, today I met this man.
Oh my
And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, it ended after 2 pages.
Oh, that would have been fun to read.
Yeah, I was like, I am not consistent at all with this.
Yeah.
So ironically, fast forward now that I'm 40, my great aunt gave me for a birthday present just like a notebook. And I was like, you know what? Every day I'm going to write to my son. And so since
that.
then,
Really sweet.
yeah, so since then I've been writing to him. His name's Trent. And I've just been like recapping our day. I know it sounds silly.
Wait,
and
but that would be so
that's-
cute for him to read.
yeah.
Yes.
So I told the grandparents, I was like, look, if anything ever happens to me, there's this notebook.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to make sure he gets it, you know?
Yeah.
And nothing's crazy in there, but I think like understanding my life, and I think ironically there's this theme of food, like what I love to like feed him and cook and whatnot. And like that makes me happy, because growing up, like my mom like would cook all the time. Like we just didn't go out, and going out was like super special. And so through that, like finding a career at Nordstrom, I think was really cool for me. I think I started there when I was like 20.
Yeah, that's kind of
03? I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, 03.
No, that's pretty
How old I
wild.
was. Oh, yeah,
to
yeah.
be
I was
so
20.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not like super impressionable, like not understanding. And we never shopped there. We shopped at Mervyn's. And
Yeah.
and my mom was like,
Shout out to Mervyn's.
Shout out to
We were
Mervyn's.
just talking
We were
about
just talking about Mervyn's.
Yeah.
I
Right?
miss Mervyn's, man.
open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
open. Oh my God, yes.
I know. So I think like understanding like that perspective and like that price point, for instance, and then going to Nordstrom, I was like, you need to get up at Nordstrom. I was like, what is a Nordstrom? And just working my way up and moving different stores, because I knew every time I moved to a different role, I'd get more money. And I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hustle. It's commission. Like how much do I need to make? In between that, I nannied. So like I would work part-time at Nordstrom. Then I was a nanny full-time
That's right. I forgot about the name.
to an amazing family. We got to travel. It was really rad. And I understood more, I should say. I learned more about like healthy eating, like not just margarine, but like real organic butter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like who knew, you know? And I think those life lessons, like I wasn't taught.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you should really not line the muffin pan with Crisco. Like,
Yeah.
you should use
Yeah.
a muffin
Or
yeah,
muffin
or like a
liner.
muffin liner.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
what's a muffin liner?
Yeah.
This is great. I'm obsessed with muffin liners now. But I don't know. I think like there's been multiple mother figures in my life. And I actually just had lunch with one of my best friend's moms today. And shout out to Lena. And literally just so great. You know, I've known her since I was 10. So
Love that.
she's like my mom,
mom,
you
yeah.
know, my like home mom. And yeah, just relationship and everything. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can go on and on. It's a crazy story. I should write a book.
you should
should.
write, honestly.
Maybe
you
like
should.
a telenovela.
No, it's true though, because that's why, that's what, when we talked about how you would always drop these little tidbits when we were at Nordstrom.
So random.
And they were so random, and it's so weird because they were so not like you.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not what you would think.
yes,
For
it
sure.
was, it was not
like
what you would think.
18 to 21-year-old Jennifer, very different.
Yeah.
Like not in the tad terrible
talk
drugs,
to us
like
about,
nothing like that.
Talk
It
to us
was
about
just-
18 to 20-year-old Jennifer. That's what I'm saying. It would be so different from what you would, like what we knew you to be,
Yeah.
and then you would randomly
Because she was
drop
so
those.
professional
Always.
and put together.
You know,
So
it's,
put together.
It's so funny you said that because I was talking to one of my best friends last night, Andrea, and literally this woman is such a busy mom. Like, I don't even know how to say it in words. Like a busy mom, son and daughter, and her husband, her family, like travel literally all over the world. It's amazing. And I'm in bed because right when the baby goes to bed, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's 9:15.
Yeah, you're like done.
But of course, you can't like turn off. So she calls me and we're on the phone for like 45 minutes. And she's driving from LA to home. And I was like, oh, sweet. Like, this is the best time to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she was saying something to her daughter. And she's like, Jennifer would go. And her daughter's like, Mom, I'm 10. Like, and it was just something so random. And I was like, we did some crazy stuff. Like she was a model when we were younger, and she would, just find these house parties to go to or whatnot. And because I drove when I was younger and I moved out, I was just like, okay, like I'll be your person. Like, and we would just hitch it to Long Beach or LA or remember MySpace? Like she would find people on MySpace
To meet up with.
And they were just random people. Like,
Oh my God.
it wasn't like hook up, nothing. It was just
Yeah.
like, hey, let's hang out and
connecting.
party. Just connecting. And it's
Yeah.
like the modern Instagram or Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
however,
That was a thing back in the day, though. People would meet off of MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like thinking about, and as I was coming here, I'm like, I would freak out if my son was like, oh, I'm just
Right.
gonna go pick up my best friend and like
We're just
get
gonna
lost on the 405 at 2 a.m. or like
And,
get
like,
pulled over.
Have no GPS, no phone.
No
Yeah.
phone, no GPS.
Nothing.
Like getting pulled over, whatever, It's crazy.
No, that is wild. I see those memes that are like, when you were 16 and your parents thought you were at a sleepover, but you were like in an empty field with like
Passed
25,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
like passed out with like
my gosh.
random 25-year-olds.
What is
Yeah.
it? That was at one time I was in a field.
Like that. Literally, she's the meme.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
the meme.
I'm sure everybody who's like watching this and sees Jen is going to be like, you in a field?
Yeah.
It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
no.
Makes sense.
It was dark.
Her appearance
Yeah.
doesn't give across the
No.
her in the field.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Again, that's when
Yeah.
she would always tell us this stuff, and we would be like, wait, what?
So
like
random.
floored by
But
it.
just, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so but that's brings us to an interesting point of when did it kind of shift for you? Like when did you start getting into like the Jen that we know now, the professional Jen?
I honestly think it was like my store leadership at Nordstrom, when we had K-Fish, and it was just that level of professionalism. But like I knew a little bit about her personal life, but not too much. But it was enough to be like, oh, you're intriguing, but like I super respect you. And it's like, how do I earn that? Like not how do I get it? Like how do I earn it? And I worked in literally every department. So shoes was kind of like my homesake, if you would. That's a real word. And I, when I got to the wedding department, I remember reaching out and I needed like a job, like a consistent job, because I was an interim for something. I remember texting one of my coworkers, my old friend coworkers there. And fast forward, like I learned this story a couple of years ago, and she's like, I went up and I told, so-and-so, like, hey, Jen's interested. And she's like, hire her.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, what? No way. She's like, well, you have to go through the process. So I went through the process and I nailed the process, the interview. And I remember negotiating my pay, like always,
That's impressive because I don't know how to negotiate at all.
Not at that level.
Not at that level. Being 20 years old or even
how old is I? I was like 29.
29.
Because I was turning 30. And that's when I met Sana. Because that was 10 years ago.
See, that feels like, it's so funny because I think about it. I looked at her, I was like, she's so like much older than me.
Yeah, she's so mature.
And I think of me at 29, I'm like, I was in the field.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just...
You were drunk in the field.
Secret life, I always want to be a librarian, but like...
What?
Yeah.
Wait, that's kind of like a mind-blowing situation for me right now, thinking that you were 2 years younger than me when we met.
I know.
Yeah. And you were... I was me at 29.
Yeah, I was me at 27. You were, or what I was doing at 29.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because I felt so young at 29, but looking at her, she made it look so...
She was so effortless.
Adulting.
Yeah. Total adulting.
I just had to. Like, it was...
That was wild.
It was just one of those. So, I think there was that. And so, when I went to the wedding suite, it was really cool because I remember not knowing anything about weddings. Like, nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember getting these candidates, and I was like, we need to hire outside the company. And HR was like, we don't do that. And I was like, we need to do that and think differently, you know, now. And so I did that entire team.
We were all outside
the company.
Yeah,
so
everybody was external.
Yeah, which if you don't know with Nordstrom, a lot of it is very, they hire from within.
Yeah, promote within.
This was a very specific role.
Well, and it was a stylist.
It was a niche role. It was a stylist
as well. So
they don't usually give those out.
No.
And the old team turned. They left or quit on their own or whatnot, and our new team began.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we had Ellen and Heidi.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And there were some other ones. There was like Juliet. Juliet or whatever. I didn't work with her, but there was other people.
Ellen and Heidi. Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
That's wild.
They feel like a distant memory.
I know.
Heidi they were sweet.
They were very nice.
Oh, they were great. I loved both of them. But God, yeah. Oh, geez. I hadn't thought about them in a while.
Me too. I was like, wait.
I mean, just to think about all the people that I've met, like, in those 14 years working there, like, insane. Like, my phone book, insane.
Oh, I bet.
Sure. I mean, just one store alone has so many people.
Yeah. A couple hundred.
And then so many young people. Like, for me, it was fun. At 21, going downstairs and be like, who's here today?
Yeah, who's here today? Who's working in what?
I was like, do not dip your
We would have, me and Jackie, we'd have rotating crushes, like, he's kind of cute. It was all shoes.
It was always shoes.
Women's shoes. It was always the women's shoes.
Yeah. There was, I think,
and then
a couple
the
of men's.
There were a couple of men's.
Yeah. But we would
so
always...
I used to love when I had to go downstairs to get something for the styling.
Go backs or something.
Or like for my appointment, get shoes.
Yeah.
Or I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah. We'd come down about
go to back to back stock. Hey, where is this?
Yeah. I'm lost. I don't know who the J. Renee's are.
Yeah. Literally. Badgley Mishkas.
The Badgley Mishkas. Jeez. Oh my God.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But being with Nordstrom for 14 years, so, and again...
I grew up there.
Yeah.
That was my, like...
That was your place as well. Yeah. I always say that too. I grew up with Nordstrom, or grew up in Nordstrom. So, because, again, adolescence, growing up with a single mom...
Yeah.
Where, I guess, like, where did that, like, drive and passion come from to, like, be, like, successful and continue on? Because for as long as I've known you, I remember that's kind of that mentorship that I've had with you.
Yeah, especially because I think the cards are kind of against you.
Yeah. It's, I just don't want to be that, like, the story that ends that way, you know? And I think, like, you're in charge of your own mind, your body, your mindset, your emotional well-being, your emotional intelligence, your psychological safety. Like, you're in charge of all of that, and it's in your brain. And I think who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
If you read, if you're educated, if you continue learning, whether that's on YouTube and you're learning a new craft, you're understanding how to farm, or like you want to learn how to sew. Like, I just like always continue to try to learn something new. And for me, when I realized that I didn't have anybody to fall back on, like, I couldn't just be like, Mom, I need $20. Can't afford gas. I was like, no, I need to sell more shoes. Like, I need to, to work harder. So that commission environment drove me not to be sharky, but to be successful. And then I was able to teach that. And so recently at my current job, I taught a class, and I actually gave like a backstory of my like life.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like I'm teaching this class. Like, let me tell you why I love selling. And I was like, I moved out when I was 18. Like I had to ask them, like, how much commission do I need, or how much do I need to sell in order to make like $3,000 a month, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to sell this much. I was like, okay, like that was my goal. And I divided it by how many days I worked and, all of that.
Yeah.
And I made sure, like, against my returns, like I ended the pay period with that much. And I don't know, like in any job, like you have a goal, but you also have to be your own cheerleader. So like, how do you, recruit business and like, how do you do all of that? And I think like the commission environment really did me well because I was able to be a people person, build a relationship, be comfortable in my own skin and quirky and whatnot. But then also, like, who do you teach and empower and mentor so that way they can be their own success?
Yeah.
When the time's right. And so I just like taking people under my wing, like really made me look through, a set of lenses differently. Because then you get to understand any other woman or man's, history, and like everybody makes an impression on you.
I remember you were always very open to developing and teaching and coaching and training. I remember I would go do MIC walks with her. So at Nordstrom, there's an MIC, AM and PM. That means manager in charge. When Jen, two things about MIC. One, she taught me always be dressed to be ready to be MIC. If you always have to, and that has happened. That happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
I randomly was like pulled into being like AM MIC or something.
Yeah.
And because
don't put your hair up in a ponytail.
Yeah, because other people would be like, well, I'm not dressed for it. And I was like, Jen taught me always be dressed to be MIC, always be ready to be MIC. But no, you would take me around on your walks, and like I would just hear her handling customers and sales people and all that stuff, and just talking to them, and that's literally how I learned. That's how I learned to speak.
She's so good at like the. We've had situations as sweet.
Oh, we've had situations.
Yeah. I'm saying, but the way she's handled it.
R.I.P. wedding suite.
R.I.P. wedding suite.
R.I.P. wedding
It comes to no surprise that I was the troublemaker there.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Well, Sana wasn't the trouble. Sana just like never like. Jen always had to give Sana a to-do list.
Oh my gosh.
Because Sana like she would be like, okay, well, did you follow up? And she'd be like, no.
Didn't you follow up?
Yeah, she's like, how come you didn't follow up? Like, because she already said that she was gonna go get this dress. Like she's like, it was like done. And Jen would be like, well, like we don't know that for sure. Like let's verify, and then
money's not in the bank. You gotta trust and verify.
Trust and verify, and like
the binder.
Nothing's in your binder. Nothing's in your binder. Sana was like the worst. Sana was the worst with all of it.
But you know what I realized when I asked you if you had to pay rent? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was in college.
And I was like, do you need to pay rent? And you're like, no. And I looked at Jackie and I was like, she doesn't have to pay rent.
Yeah.
It was play money.
Yeah. It was play money.
And like, but then I understood your mindset. And like, I was able to connect with you and give you a different drive. You know what I mean?
I think it was also a lot. I mean, I was going to school 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
I had 5 days of work because we worked full time at Nordstrom.
Yeah.
And I had 2 days of full classes. So
Yeah,
I had no days off.
There was so much.
There was a lot.
Being there and understanding that, like I am so empathetic to people that are in school.
Yeah.
They're like, Jen, I need this off. I'm like, get off. And if I can do it, I'll do it. Like, and if I don't, like,
I think
it was call out.
At that point, it was hard to focus as that being your career because it's like, well, I'm going to college right now. So it's like, you're like, that can slide.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And for me, like, that is my career.
Yeah. It's
like,
different.
and so if you have a different mindset.
You have a different mindset. Because that was me. This was like, okay, do I make
this into a career?
Yeah, I wanted to climb up. I wanted to grow within the company. And so.
And you did.
And I did.
Very successful.
So,
I did. But I had rent to pay and all that stuff. So it was very different. It was but like how you said, you get to know people and their stories and what drives them. And, but just learning that has served you well, because it
like it.
has allowed you
Yeah, it's fun.
to be where you're at. And, style flex and how you said, now I understood. Like,
Totally.
I understood this was play money for her. Like,
Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe,
Yeah, so kind of appealing to one area where that whole, like, hey, you can't make your bills or whatever. She'd be like, that's fine.
What bills?
I love it. I love it.
Exactly. But no, I love it. It was just, I loved the way that you always were open to developing and training people. And, like, again,
cool.
like,
No,
meeting
that was
them.
what she's meant to do.
Yes.
Is meant to do. Like,
Yeah.
no, was.
Yeah.
Is.
It's been rad. Like,
No, you're so good at it.
it's been so fun. And no one's perfect. You know what I mean? Like, you try and you fail and you can pick yourself up again and try harder. Like, that's it. Like, the
Very
sky's
true.
the limit.
That's very true. No, it has served you well. You've done a great job with it. So another area where you have kind of been unconventional
Non-traditional.
and non-traditional.
Yeah, she's a non-traditional gal all around.
all
Literally,
around.
you're gonna see from
Which
this
is
episode.
so funny.
All around.
Yeah.
So funny. Like, I grew up in such a traditional, like, religious, get married, have kids, don't go to college.
That's
like,
what's
just
so
have
interesting. I
babies.
forgot
And I
about
was like,
that.
no way, Jose.
She did the complete opposite of everything
Yeah.
she just listed.
But it's true. I totally forgot about
I mean,
that.
I did go to college. Thank God.
You were brought up in a Jehovah's Witness religious like community in a way. Your grandparents were
Dude, I was engaged
very devout.
at like 16.
You were engaged at 16?
I didn't even know that. This is what I mean, you guys.
Yeah. Do you see this?
Knew this.
Are you serious?
I looked at you. I was like, "Did you know this?"
So I had a gold ring with a purple heart.
From who?
This guy.
What?
So you ran away?
No. My mom cut that out. Like, she's like,
Oh, it wasn't. They didn't force you. Some guy proposed to you that you liked.
Yeah, and he's like, we're gonna get married in 2 years when you're 18.
Well,
I
your
was
mom would have been fine. Jehovah's Witness, don't they get married young?
like, no, my mom wasn't then.
That's right.
So she dipped out.
Because your mom kind of bucked the system.
Yeah.
Because your grandparents were devout. Jehovah's Witness.
And then my mom was like, and I still kind of was. And so, like, going against the grain of my mother, like, up until I was 16. And that's when I kind of, like, I was like, this isn't working. Like, I'm literally trying to do something my grandparents and, like, I was taught to do.
Right.
And, like, it was literally oil and water.
Right.
Oil and vinegar. No,
Oil and water.
Oil and water.
Yeah.
It was just, it was
You were
a lot.
engaged at 16. I
Yeah.
never knew
See,
this.
this is
And
what
so
I mean.
This
It's
is
every
the stuff
time.
that we mean.
So,
every time.
Ironically, God, it must have been like 10 years ago. I went to that yard house that I worked at.
Oh,
for a
yeah,
hot
yard
second,
house, yeah.
And I saw him. And I was like, what? I was like, dude, you look the same. I was like, this is so crazy. And I was like, hey, Andy, how are you? Like, he's like, oh my God.
Andy?
Yeah, his name was Andy. And
We love Andy's.
really?
No.
Okay. I was like, no.
There's one infamous Andy.
No Andy.
Yeah, there's one infamous Andy.
No Andys. Oh.
Yeah.
It took her a second.
Took me
Yeah.
a second. And he was moving to Connecticut, like, had a family. And I was like, all right, peace. Like, that's you. Like, I'm going to go drink. Thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go get some wine. And, like,
could've
that
been
was
you.
it.
That could have been you.
That could have been me.
Could have been you moving
I
to
would have
Connecticut.
never met you guys
I know.
if I lived in Connecticut. Who wants to live in Connecticut?
My
Sorry.
hair might be
Shout out to
beautiful.
the
I don't know.
Connecticut.
Yeah, shout out to our
Listeners.
Connecticut homies. No, that's wild. I never knew. So how
sorry.
long were you in? See, again.
Maybe like hot second.
I don't even know. It's
because-
speechless.
Yeah. What, for like a month?
Yeah.
You guys were like engaged? 2 weeks?
Girl, 16.
You were
remember-
young.
I don't remember
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, that was
It
a while
was,
ago.
I mean, I was in high school. And so my mom got married like 18, 19, like
Yeah.
right after high school and had me at 19. So she was like, like, I moved you out of Norwalk for a reason.
Yeah, we're not doing
Yeah, we're not doing
Yeah.
this. Which is very interesting because I feel like she, obviously the relationship with your mom has been a very different one and tumultuous one. Yeah, and definitely ups and downs. And that's just kind of, it's interesting that she recognized.
Oh, yeah. She still protected us. Like,
Yeah.
And I think that was the most important thing. Like, she took us out of the city that, like, didn't give her the best life, you know? And, like,
Right.
she wanted more for us. And
Yeah.
And I think, like, moving to South Orange County, just gave me a whole other perspective.
Oh, for sure.
And it's somewhere she loved. Like, we grew up going down there for some reason. She might have dated a man there. But I remember like going down to Laguna Beach and just hanging out. I was just in Laguna today. It ended up just being so great. So, like, you know, shout out to the mother that I've loved before. You know, honestly, she meant well. And so, just going from like everything that I learned and whatnot, I met this man and
let's
been
dive
together
into
ever since.
This is what we wanted. The second piece of the unconventional.
19 years this November.
So you were how old when you met Chris?
21.
20,
turning 21.
Okay.
Met him through my best friend who I lived with at the time, Rose, and her then husband, and we all met at Champs. He was there apparently. I don't remember meeting him there. But fast forward, I called him and I was like, "Hey, it's Jen. You want to go to the beach? You're a surfer." And he's like, "No." I was like, "Oh." He's like, "We can go out somewhere." And I was like, "All right." He's like, "Jen who?" And I was like, "Damn." Like,
to remember.
I was just scrolling through my phone. Like, I just got to see.
Yeah.
I was like, all the A's and B's were busy.
Now we're here.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
So we landed on the
And just so different as far as unconventional. Like, parents literally, you know, my side at least, drove marriage down my throat. And I think there was one point where my mom was with her second husband, my stepdad, who I absolutely love. And she's like, "You need to get married. You need to get married." And I was like, "Do you know that my relationship has lasted longer than both your marriages combined?" I was like, "So I don't think I need to get married right now."
Yeah. So that's the thing is they're not married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
19
they're still
years
not married.
together, not married.
They live together. Partners.
Yes.
Partners.
Everything. But
Yeah. He's my partner.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful son together. He's going to
Yeah.
be 20 months this month.
yes.
Having a baby late in life, I was like mid-30. Like, it is true. Like, the 37-year-old crisis of like, oh, I think I want kids.
Yeah, because you both, did you kind of want them?
I mean,
He didn't want
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like that turning page for us was like, is this the right thing? You know, like, what's the next chapter? Like, you know, we've been together so long. Like, are we traveling the world right now? Like, no. Like, we're struggling in Orange County. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
that makes sense.
So yeah, just that was like the next chapter in our life, and we were like gung ho ready, and then I lost my job working for another company, and I was like, ooh, can't bring a child in this world right now. Then got recruited by my current company and like worked with them, I think, for 2 years. COVID happened. That whole, you know, shenanigans.
Yeah. The whole shenanigans.
Yeah, the razzmatazz.
And then I think it was like, what was it, 2021? I was like, okay, like I think we're ready for this.
Yeah.
And came 5 weeks early. So at the end of 2021,
Right.
I gave birth and just came out like a hot potato.
He's beautiful.
He's so cute.
Thank you.
He's so
like
cute.
So stinking
just
cute.
so lucky, blessed to have a healthy baby.
Very
that was
happy baby.
Yeah, he's a very happy baby.
Yeah.
No, he's
And just terrible twos that they're not graceful.
I mean, I think so many women struggle with the fact that like I'm already 32, 33, 34, whatever.
No, for sure.
And don't have kids.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was younger having that timeline. Like, I think it's it's a self-indulgent timeline that I think every woman gives themselves of like, okay, at this age, like, okay, I want to have kids at like by 21. Like, I want to be married. At 23, I want to have a kid. 25, I want to have a kid. Like, okay, maybe I'll graduate college from, 27. Like, there was this weird timeline that I had for myself. And like, everything went out the window. Not just when I met Chris, but Chris was like, kids, no, marriage, no. I was like, oh, okay, are we least exclusive. And he's like, yeah, we're exclusive. I was like, okay, I just want to make sure, you know, like, okay, I'll stop scrolling after this.
Yeah. I'll stop making those calls.
Stop making those calls. But it, it was highs and lows.
But so you had him at what, 38?
30, yeah. 38.
Which
it's crazy.
I think that's like makes me feel better.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah,
I think it helps a lot of women hearing your story because
and I think like people wondering if you got vaccinated, people wondering this. I remember having a customer asking me, like, "Are you vaccinated?" And I was like, "That's a very personal question."
Well, you're pregnant.
Yeah, and I was pregnant and I was out and about on the floor and I was like, "That's a very personal question. I don't have to share that with you." And she was like, "It would just give us women hope." And I was like, "What am I, Mother Teresa to you?" Like,
because they said that you can't get pregnant.
Yeah,
if you're not
like
vaccinated.
something like that.
Yeah.
And all I told her was like, "Let's just say everything's fine." You know, like you could take that however you want. I'm just like, it's a lot of question for my like maternal body.
Well, how do you feel being a mom in your later 30s?
I feel more financially secure.
Okay, important.
I think that's so important. I mean, I think if I was like, I don't know, hustling to be a nanny, making $13 an hour under the table, like with another job and like trying to figure out childcare and all of that when I was like 22, like, ugh, like that just doesn't. I just didn't want to replicate the life my mom had. You know, she had me at 19. She had my sister at 22, and she was divorced by 23.
Wow.
Like I just didn't want that life. You know. And so having a child later in life, I think gives me a different perspective. It makes me feel like I should still be put together. Like, like you know how to put yourself together in like less than an hour.
Yeah.
You know, like hair, makeup, head to toe. Like I can get really good at it. You wake up early. Like wake up at 6. Yeah. 5:30. You know, like be strategic with your time. Like wake up when you hear the birds chirp. I know that sounds crazy. You wake up when you hear the birds chirp, you can get so much done.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have to. You have a baby.
I know.
Yeah. And he's like, when
your
up,
life
he's up.
is different.
It's so different. Like meal prep galore.
But do you feel like there's been any disadvantages of being a mom at 40 now with a 2-year-old?
Yeah. I mean, my best friends have children that are 10. I have 2 best friends, children at 10. I just went to the 8-year-old birthday party a couple weeks ago. Another kid's maybe 7 or 8. Yeah, they're all like older. So when I see Trent hang out with them, I was like, oh, and I was like, hey, Matt, when you're 20, like Trent's gonna be your age. And he's like, what? I was like, don't teach him something crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
he's a baby.
Don't go play in the field.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's crazy, but I don't think there's a disadvantage. I think the advantage is like I feel more financially secure, and I think the most important thing you can do as a woman that, you know, I'm on a single income, you know, and Chris stays at home, thank goodness, and works part-time, is like, how do you make the most of it? And like, how do you like relish like going to the beach or walking around the block with the baby, you know?
Like, that's also part of the non-traditional is you're the one working.
I am. Yeah. So, I mean, that was...
in all senses.
Yeah, in all areas.
That was the agreement. That was the path. The path. Yeah. And I go back to work this weekend and I'm like, change. Like, the poor baby, you know? Like loving and just this time, but also like knowing, okay, like I need to meal prep more. Like, hey, what are you guys gonna do today? And they always go to the park or they feed the ducks or go to the beach or, you know, it's just crazy. But yeah, super non-traditional. I had a conversation with my grandma recently. She, bless my grandma. Like I like the rock in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And, she's like, you know, your aunts are just kind of upset. She's like, that you just pay. Like, well, I don't pay for everything. I'm like, but like we split a lot of things. But yeah, like there's a lot of things that I do pay for. I'm like, but you know what? If the tables were turned, no one would be saying about, oh, I just upset that Chris pays for everything. I said, Nanny, like, no, that's not okay. I said, we're in a completely different world right now. Like, plus she had 5 kids at like 15 up. Like, no.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you're right. She's like, I'm with you. She was like, if I made your money. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
making
yeah.
$1 million here, but
Yeah.
it's just I think it's how you empower women at like different stages of their life, you know, and like telling my grandmother, like, no, like push back on that. Like, that's okay. She's 84, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, you're right, I can. I was like, good. Do that.
Do that. Yeah.
Do that.
No, but it's interesting. They don't, because it is such a non-conventional life. It's
Yeah.
non-traditional. And she's devout Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
So, like, very traditional.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
I mean,
you know.
wants me to come in that religion like a hot potato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not for me. Respectful.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Respectfully, it's not for you.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yeah, just I could imagine her just having like a really hard time with just being like,
Oh, I know there's that internal struggle with her.
But the fact that she's so okay with you.
She's so like
that, and for her age, that's pretty incredible.
That is.
she is. And I think that's where like that acceptance comes from, you know, is like, how do I accept and love my granddaughter for who she is, you know?
But that generation, that's hard to ask for. Well, speaking of that, do you have advice for people that are struggling this way? Just because there's so many people that deal with society pressure, family pressure of being traditional, getting married, then having a kid, or not having a kid without being married, or a man being a breadwinner. There's just all these areas.
So many things.
Shoot, I would say, like, honestly, it's okay to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself and you reflect or you meditate or however you like think for yourself, like in your moment, in your favorite spot, in your home, or if it's at the beach or going for a walk, like no one's making the decision but you. And you should own the decision from start to finish. And if you can own it, then you can speak to it, right?
Yeah.
If you F up, like you could speak to it. And you're like, oh, learn that lesson hard.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like being like empathetic and emotionally intelligent to your family, because like those are the values that made you who you are, you know? So I think like that respect is so important, but also like creating a boundary. I don't know.
No, I think those are really good.
Right? Like,
yeah. I think I'm kind of learning that now, like through therapy.
it's hard.
It's very, very hard. It's very hard.
I should go to therapy.
You're doing just
we
fine.
advocate for therapy for everyone.
Thought about it so many times.
And no, but that's what I've been talking to my therapist about in one of our most recent episodes, like boundaries, which I think is probably the key when you are not totally in line with your family, or when you're not in complete alignment with them, and they or as you start becoming, you know, into your own life or becoming an adult, and you kind of start bucking against what you were taught or what the standard was, like it's very difficult and it throws everyone for a loop.
It does. I'm definitely an outlier, I think, in the family. And when I think of like how in perspective I've been able to mold my family, and I feel even more empowered and almost like the matriarch of like, no, I'll handle this. No, I'll do this. No, I'll do this. Oh, you guys want to do that? Yeah, sure. Go for it. You know, something falls through cracks. Okay, I'll fix it. You know,
that is so you. You're a one-stop shop.
It's like Olivia Pope.
Oh, that is our show. But she is though, like, you're a fantastic mom. You're
so
hustling
fun.
at work.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You've literally taken what you were at 18 years old and made this incredible
It's
story.
so fun. And now to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I don't like it, honey, let's move to Hawaii. Like, let's move to Santa Barbara. Like, let's move somewhere else. And he's like, oh, I see where you're going with this. Okay. I was like, this is the next 40 years of my life.
Yeah.
Like, it's my life with my family. Like, let's make something fun out of it.
And
you
he's
know?
young where you can drag him around. Right
Totally. We want to homeschool.
Yeah.
It's
like,
keeps going.
Every facet. It's just,
But like, why not, you know, the backyard be your classroom? I don't know. Like, it's so, and I was like, Chris, you're doing this. If you're not, that's okay. And let's put him in a good school.
Right.
I don't know.
I think you've made it, Because I feel like when people think of a non-traditional lifestyle or unconventional lifestyle, they think it's dysfunctional, and that people aren't successful
that's so
in it.
hard.
Yeah.
But it is. But like you are doing it. You are successful. You are marching to the beat of your own drum.
Totally, and providing a loving home for your child.
Totally.
Yes.
And they don't need to know. He doesn't need to know we're not married, you know. And like we've talked the marriage thing. Yes, I have my wedding gown. It's in my dad's attic. Safe and sound. Susan.
Yeah.
Susan sold it to me. Jackie's mom. But I think the most important thing is like don't let your past make your future.
Yeah.
And I'd be an effed up woman if I did. And I look past it, you know.
I think you do. You roll with the punches. You kind of.
Yeah.
No, totally. I think about what would have happened if you got married at 18
I moved to Connecticut.
versus where you are now.
At 16.
Yeah, I got
know.
engaged at 16. Like,
Isn't that
if you would have
crazy?
followed that path, you know, pretty wild. So wild to
Probably
think
have
about.
like 5 kids by now.
Yeah. I don't know.
You wouldn't be you.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be you.
No. Yeah. I'd be like some subservient woman.
Yeah. Well, just living an unauthentic life.
Yeah.
Because this is you. That's, I think, something that Son and I can both recognize and say that you have always been authentically you.
Oh, thank you.
And you have always, again, like I said, marched the beat of your own drum. But it's what your truth is, what's authentic to you and makes sense for your life. And, you know, obviously in a responsible way.
For sure. Had some crazy jobs, but nothing that got me in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still stayed focused. You stayed on track. You know what you wanted in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unconventional
admirable.
doesn't necessarily mean unsuccessful.
True.
Exactly. And
So-
I think that's a stigma.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
That
is
is
the stigma.
yes.
That's terrible.
Very much so. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for
This has
coming
been
on.
an honor.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh my gosh, truly.
It's been a month in the making, basically.
It has.
Literally.
It has. But we're so thankful that you came and
Thank
spent
you.
time with us, hung out with us today.
Thank you,
I
ladies.
think a lot of people are going to enjoy listening to your perspective.
Yes.
So,
Because I think a lot of people struggle with society pressures and family pressures.
yeah.
Oh, for
And
sure.
do things that they don't want to do.
You know,
sure.
you don't realize how many people out there have those similarities
Yeah.
until you talk and you get to know, and you know you're personable, little personal, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just talk it out.
No.
Right.
Yeah. That's always been your thing. It's like, let's just talk.
Everything
Like,
will be okay.
Yeah.
Everything will be
Jen is showing that everything will be okay.
Everything will be
I
fine.
promise.
Yeah. If you want a kid at 38,
It's fine.
It's fine.
Make it
Everything will
work.
be fine.
Everything
Yeah.
will work out. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, ladies.
Very special guest.
Yes.
The best
Yes.
the best guest, the most special guest we've had. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have to have you on. I don't know, at some point maybe we'll have to do like
an update, life update in Tennessee.
Yeah.
we can totally do
Yeah.
that.
we'll do a little Zoom sesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Tell the people how it's going
How it's
over
going.
in
Make it happen.
Your nomad
Nashville.
life that might happen.
Yeah.
So.
Never know. Be like, where are you coming from now? And you're like, Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
So great.
Where are you now? Alaska. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I've been there. It's beautiful.
See? Exactly.
Yeah. She's always got a story.
Always got a story. There's always something. All right, well, y'all. Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you
Yes.
enjoyed it. And we hope you got some good advice. And we'll catch you
In 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks.
Have a great next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't miss us too much. I know it's weird.
I know it is weird, but
If you miss our voice, replay the episode.
Yeah.
Or whichever your favorite.
yeah, play your favorite if you need to hear us.
If you need to see us, YouTube.
YouTube
There's a lot
it.
of options.
So many options.
Yeah.
We're always with you.
Yeah, we're always with you.
All right, y'all. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.